All right, yeah, folks, what's happening? Apparently, I'm new here. And yeah, back in coffee time. Welcome back to coffee time, folks. Trying to adjust my screen. I don't know what happened, but my software is like being software, and it just throwing me for a loop right now. And I haven't done this in like almost 6 weeks, I think. So let me turn on the restream strat, the restream chat. So what's happening, everybody? Good morning. Hope everybody hear me okay? Everyone, hello. All right. Today I have on Zelda MacGregor. She is a political consultant, and she's going to come on today. We're going to talk about dealing with our legislators and how we can be more effective constituents. You guys saw that in my little promo. And we're talking about House Bill H4774 today, which is being held up in the the Senate Ways and Means Committee, Massachusetts. And this bill would allow us to have to-go cocktails, which 30 states nationwide have. And there was an article in the Boston Globe about it today, so that's really awesome. So I'm going to bring in Zelda here. Give me a second. Yeah, what's happening, Zelda? How are you? What? 1 second. Ah. All right, now we're back. It was my fault. You there?
Okay, good morning.
Yeah, all right.
I have my coffee, but I drink it out of one of my bike ride bottles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very, very efficient.
Yeah.
I have my
Creeps
coffee.
out my neighbor.
Here. What's that?
It creeps out my neighbor. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't, that makes no sense.
I'm not worried about it.
I have a serious question for you, though.
Sure.
Like a really serious question. How come I was just asked to join the Everything Eggs group?
Who? I don't know. I wondered when I saw you post. It's egg pics only
Egg
in
Picks
all caps.
Only.
It's such a great group. It's like my friend Haley invited me a few months ago, and it's the most wholesome and supportive group of people. Like there's no shame, no judging. Even when people post a photo of like a sandwich they got like at takeout or something, it's just like this is what I needed to like in my life during quarantine. It was this Facebook group of egg pics only to show off that I did finally perfect my poaching technique.
Bowie invited me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But,
Good,
I'm
good.
very
I'm
psyched.
glad that it happened.
I'm very psyched to be in that group now because
Yeah, it's
have
the best
lots of
group.
eggs.
I used to be really pumped about this group called Falmouth Wildlife. Well, it used to be Falmouth Birds, and it was only bird pictures in Falmouth and like adjacent communities. And I was judging people based on like, would I invite them to join Falmouth Birds and follow all 12 rules? And that was like my litmus test for people. And then they changed it to Falmouth Wildlife. And honestly, I like the animal photos, but it's not the same.
Oh, it's so funny. It's
Not
like,
the same.
no
Bird people
politics
are
here,
really interesting.
just birds and
It's
eggs.
just the
That makes
people
sense.
who care enough to have a whole group about it. Like they're really interesting people. And now people get into fights because they're like, you shouldn't be taking pictures of a fox too close. And it's like, this is clearly a camera that's like got like a professional, like they're like yards and yards away. Like it's fine.
Yeah, I don't think the fox would tolerate closeness.
No, it's just clearly a professional photographer using equipment that's safe, but whatever. Anyway,
I can hear
it's
Kitty
just
meowing.
not the same. Yeah, sorry everyone. Phil will be joining us a lot.
If you don't hear my kids, I'll be shocked. They're back there. My wife's off today, though, so she had the day, and I was like, hey, let's do coffee time. I did ask permission because it's kind of annoying when I do the show.
That's good on you.
I did. I said yes. She said I didn't ask. I said, would you mind if I did coffee time today? She said, I don't know. Apparently, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so
I did not ask for Phil's permission.
Oh, you didn't? No. Well, he doesn't pay rent.
You know.
I mean, he's cute, but
Yeah, her birthday's coming up, so. Anyway.
So let's get to it. What do you do? What do you do as a political consultant?
It varies depending on what's going on. This cycle is really active because it's obviously a presidential year, and there's the starting at the top there. We have some stuff going on with Senate races all over the country, including here. And obviously up in Maine is something that a lot of people here are paying attention to. And also issue campaigns sort of like this one, or ballot initiatives like ranked choice voting is something that I was helping out with, getting signatures for to get it on the ballot. It's a 2-step process over a long period of time. So we work on strategy. We work on building a coalition of organizations or people, grassroots, grass tops, however we can get it together to get things done. You and I sort of kind of got to know each other a little more outside of just the local restaurant, you being a fancy cocktail man and me being like, hi, I have a dumb idea I'd like to try. When I was helping out with recreational retail cannabis sales in Plymouth. That was something I think is a good example, sort of like this one, where it really was just citizens coming together and saying, we voted for this, we passed it, town meeting voted for it, passed it, the selectmen approved it, the planning board. You can't usually get all of these cats herded into one little room. And by the way, people who are excited about cannabis sales are not always the easiest group to get organized at once. And I mean that affectionately. But it's people have lives, they have schedules, and these meetings are at really specific times. So what we do when we have something like this normally is get people into the room, bring them there for that meeting. That is not a super safe thing to do right now. And we're not talking about 1820 Town Hall, we're talking about Beacon Hill, which is obviously in Boston. So anyway, I guess that's an example I would like to use with a lot of the people who may be here, because they might remember us doing that. And working to be constant. Oh my goodness, that's adorable. Be constantly in the ear of these legislators and their staffs, and making other people do that. You want to sort of organize yourself out of a job when you're doing it, because Zelda's one person, but if Zelda can get 5 other people to also be doing that, you grow your little snowflake or your spider web, whatever image you like the best. And that's how we can accomplish a lot of great things. That's their job, is to listen to us. That's what they're there for, and that's what we pay them for. They forget that sometimes.
I actually had a question for you. Is there a person that works in the Senate as a senator that works to get bills unstuck?
Unstuck? I mean, it would just depend on the issue. There's going to always be one of them that's trying. It's a 40-person body. It's 90% Democrat. But I got to tell you, and I harp on this constantly, anyone who knows me has heard me say this already, a lot of these people in almost any other state, they're a different party. The reason that massive chunks of legislation that we need, the reason the Safe Communities Act hasn't been passed yet, the reason something like this isn't through is because of a lot of times leadership in our own party. I mean, we have a more than veto-proof majority. If Charlie Baker decides that he wants to veto something, it doesn't matter. If we should easily be able to take care of that. We could be running the table and we don't. A lot of times the governor will threaten to veto a project, and that just scares everybody away. They're like, all right, never mind. That's if it even gets to his desk, which it almost never does.
I want to be a senator, and I want to go in there and be like, I don't give a fuck what bill it is. As long as it has, majority bipartisans apart coming out of the House, let's fucking pass it.
Well, again, in the House, you have an 80% Democratic majority. So bipartisanism in Massachusetts is kind of a joke. It doesn't really matter. The representation is what it is. But it's always going to come down to committees. I mean, this is one of the reasons that I'm a member of Progressive Mass. I'm on the elections and endorsements committee there, and also the head of Upper Cape Progressive Mass, which is our newest chapter. Indivisible Plymouth is a chapter of Progressive Mass, FYI. Oh. So one of the things that we have been the most vocal and sincere about, and we're about a lot, but is the transparency amendments that we keep trying to get through. We don't even know what the committee votes are in the House, and they don't want us to. Why? Like that kind of thing. So you want to know why something is stuck in Ways and Means in the Senate? I mean, because it turns out they're working on a broader omnibus bill that would cover a lot of things for restaurants and retail. Now, there it's going to be weird because when the Senate passes its bill and it gets kicked back, the House is going to find something that they hate about it. And this is what we do. We just basically slap each other like this. Remember those stupid, like the little gesture puppets that just box?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's like. That's how I feel though. But my head's in the middle. And
Um,
it's,
so I'm probably new to this, even though I complain all the time about politics. But I'm getting more of an understanding how this stuff
you're
works.
getting a really interesting crash course.
Yeah. So you're telling me if the Senate passes this shit's going to get back to the House?
Well, that has to be agreed on. So, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. The Senate typically is much more progressive and responsive than the House is. And I know Senate President Spilka. Found her to be, I mean, she's a good person. She's really good on animal rights, which is really near and dear to my heart. So I've always appreciated that. But to be honest with you, just have not been paying as much attention to the Senate lately, the Massachusetts Senate, as I should, because I'm occupied with the U.S. Senate, because we have a certain congressman who thought it was a good idea to go ahead and challenge one of the best senators in the U.S. Senate, because his last name is a special fancy name here. So I've been occupied with that.
Okay.
And yeah, it's his name rhymes with Joe Kennedy. So anyway, vote Markey, September 1st.
Man.
But so the Senate and the House have to agree on things. There will be some kind of a conference legislation, and we'll see what happens. If I have to guess, probably you're going to get what you want. It just might take a while, and it might mean that there's a give back somewhere. I mean, that said, the beverage lobby is really, really powerful. Package stores in Massachusetts, in particular.
Which really blows my mind, right? Because how many more restaurants are there than package stores? How many more bars are there than package stores? You can put those two things in different categories, and it's still like gonna, heavily outweigh the number.
To me, it's just one of these things is not like the other. Like I'm still gonna go to Cappy's and buy like whatever, but that's not the same experience as if I go to the Tasty and I say randomly, "Hey, Chris, I'm never gonna make this on my own." Because I'm not talented at cocktails beyond like a 2 to 3 ingredient amount. And I just don't want to. Chris, it's too hot, but I want a hot toddy. Can you try a cold toddy? And what did you do? 10 minutes later, I had this like fantastic drink, which I'd like to talk to you about later, by the way.
Of course.
I might try to make it. It's quarantine is a different lifestyle. But that's a completely different experience. And it's something that people miss. And honest to God, if we want to keep people safe and they can go and have that, like at a craft cocktail place like the Tasty or many of the others, they're less likely to start pushing the envelope on things that we really, really shouldn't be doing right now, like getting together in a closed room.
Yeah, because
if I can take it home, I'm less likely to eat there and risk your health because I'm not wearing a mask while I'm eating than I am to, but I'm still spending money there is what I was getting at. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's important because it's two-pronged, like you said. We're helping support the restaurant and the bar industry, and we're not putting each other's lives at risk. And we're also not endorsing bad behavior.
Yep.
Because I really feel like right now, many restaurants are endorsing bad behavior for the monetary factor, which they have no choice. They just have to do it. They have no choice.
Yeah.
And it's insane. It's just like, let's do outdoor dining, but not help you guys this way. And have you seen the weather this whole week?
Well, here it only rained a couple days, and then but it's so hot. Yeah, it's like 90 degrees, and I live right by the Heights Beach, and we get a nice breeze once in a while. But like it is hot out. I mean, I'm covered in sunburn, like.
Yeah, people are going to the waterfront here, and they're sitting on top of each other, which I do not endorse. And then they are coming downtown Plymouth, and they're trying to sit in the sidewalk. They just started that last week, but there's a whole rabbit hole to get into. Have you driven down Main Street here?
I haven't been to Plymouth since March.
Oh.
I was there like March 9th, I think. It was right after Super Tuesday is how I remember it. But I have a specific lifestyle. I haven't been there, but I do ride my bike every day in Falmouth. And Cape Cod is like, first of all, just look at the traffic. They're coming here.
Mm-hmm. I was saying that
and
the other day.
I ride my bike by several beaches, and the parking lots are filled with cars, most of them not from Massachusetts. Earlier this week, I was downtown-ish. I don't know why I'm pointing like you know where I am, but
I can pretend.
I was like near Main Street where, the library and all. I don't know how familiar you are with Falmouth, but like all of the restaurants there are like lined up on Main Street, and it was packed. It was really busy. I haven't been yet. Like I really want to go support like my buddies outside, but also I don't know. I just don't feel right.
No, I
So
know.
takeout is an option.
Yeah, takeout's an option for many, and I feel like we kind of been given an opportunity to really dial the delivery in or dial the to go in. But now when you start being like, okay, we're going to open up inside, and then we're going to open up some outside, and then it might rain. And so now, instead of staying on one track that you're like trucking on, all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And then you have like 10 balls in the air, and who knows what's going to work.
Yeah, and none of them are fully formed. So it's like, it would be like if you had to write a paper and the subject changed every page and you had to have 10 pages and none of them were fully fleshed out. And now you have like some kind of messed up like manifesto of craziness. And it's really just about the economy and not our lives. Someone tweeted the other day, like, remember, we live in a society, not an economy. And I just can't stop thinking of that, like, as such a great statement about the situation. And it's that kind of thing that I think you can remind specifically the governor about if you feel so inclined to reach out to Charlie. But when you talk to your legislators, even locally, like if you're talking to a town meeting member or if you're talking to, one of the select board members, reminding them that it's a society, like that we have a social contract to each other. Like what, if recently people learned a phrase, what do we owe to each other, because of the show The Good Place. This is something near and dear to my heart because my actual grown-up education is in philosophy, not this nonsense. But we owe it right now to each other to just be smart and be safe and not be selfish, which is really difficult for most people. If you've ever been on an All Things Plymouth post, you know that.
They won't let me in the
like
group, they won't let me in.
It's difficult for a lot of people, and some people don't want to believe that it's really a pandemic. Well, then you don't know someone who's had it, because I do, and it's just terrifying. And when we have the governor saying now we're going to open what's the new one, gyms, the people are going to go be like running, and what's the thing that you can't do with a mask on? That not for a long time, and this is how people run. And then like they're going to be sweating, they're going to be aspirating all over everything, which is a great way to spread a virus.
So I've been seeing, I'm not going to call anybody out, but I've been seeing some bars opening and getting like a hot dog machine. I've been seeing bars pushing tables up to the bar and letting people sit at the tables, which doesn't seem like social distancing for the server, and I feel for the teachers, I feel for the folks that work in the hospital, and the teachers don't want to go back to school because they're going to put themselves in a place of risk, right? What about all these servers? They're just like, whatever, go serve these people who aren't wearing masks, who don't give a shit, because I would say at least half the people out right now do not give a shit.
No, at least that's one of the reasons they're out. It's a real shame. It's not a surprise, certainly not to you or the people in the industry, that people often don't consider that as a very important job. There's a wage gap there for a reason. There's an intense and abiding poverty issue in the industry, as you know. And it's because people have decided it's not a professional gig, which always blows my mind, because if you didn't think that like it was, you wouldn't go there. Like you can easily, just not go, but it is a really highly specialized industry. And I've never been a server. I was a bartender 100 years ago when I was in college. But if I mean, I'm consistently impressed with like what these people can do. Like, it's just I'm in awe of my friends and of some of the other folks that I've had the pleasure of meeting through the industry. And I just, what it comes down to, and it's uncomfortable to think about, but it's true, is that people don't respect that industry. They don't respect the people doing it, and it's just the same as a person checking out their groceries at Shaw's or wherever. It's just people consider it unskilled. There's no such thing as unskilled labor.
It's so funny because, sorry to interrupt, my friend Devin, we always talk about how did you fuck up your life to get here to be a bartender? You know, and that's a lot of people think that way. You know, like, what did you do wrong? You know, not because you have a passion for this or, you know, you can actually make a living and this can be your profession, but what did you do wrong to get here? But
I get that a lot too.
but, you know, really what we have to do right now here is talk to our legislators. We got to call up our representatives, and you know, they like to dodge. I feel like they like to dodge us. I know I've been dodged a bunch of times. I know people who have been, you know, you don't get response to emails, whatever. Also heard back from a friend who spoke to someone at the State House saying that we need to put more pressure on Karen Spilka from people who are her constituents. Otherwise, you know, we might not see any movement because she's doesn't feel threatened. I don't know if that is a thing or not, but and I, you know, don't know anybody in, I think she's Middlesex County or something, parts of that.
Yeah, lots of Framingham.
Mm-hmm. Abington, was that Abington? Hollister?
No, it's like, I'll send you the map. I don't off the top of my head remember, but I know she lives in Framingham.
I'm like, I used to know people out there, but you know, it's just really disappointing that, you know.
Well, the one way that you would do that is that coalition building through groups, like I was talking about. So you may not personally know anyone there, but you could be like, oh, well, I know. There's like, let me just look and see like what's going on with some of the groups that are out there. Like, what about those restaurants? Like, there's got to be a way that you could then, you know, call up, find a restaurant that's sort of like yours. I'm sure there's something that's, you know, the super classy cocktail-y kind of thing or whatever, and just be like, hey, I'm, you know, so-and-so from Plymouth, and here's what's going on here. Your senator's the state president or Senate president. You even in Plymouth, and well, we live in the same Senate district still. In the Plymouth and Barnstable district, we have the unique perspective of having recently had our senator be the Senate president. Before the dark ages of Vinnie DiMacedo, we had Terry Murray, who, while not as to the left as, say, someone like I am, things got done. Under her leadership, we had marriage equality. First in the nation was in Massachusetts. Under her, we had, you know, mass health, sometimes called Romney Care, although he doesn't appreciate that. It really should be called Murray Care, you know? And is it perfect? Certainly not. But things got done in the Senate when we had that kind of leadership. And I know that Karen's capable of it, but it might take hearing from her constituents, you know? I don't know that usually to be the case with her, but let's start at home though. You have 3 state reps that cover Plymouth. One of them is on his way out, so he probably doesn't care. And it's only one precinct, it's precinct 9, and that's Randy Hunt. He's a Republican.
No, I never heard of him.
And that's good. Like I said, he's retiring, so this is his last term. So,
who's running to fill a spot?
So there are 2 Republicans, Tom Keyes out of Sandwich, and Stephen Jaros, also out of Sandwich. And then there's one Democrat, Jim Dever, out of Sandwich. The whole town of Sandwich is in that district. It's called the 5th Barnstable District. And it's all of Sandwich, like Sagamore Beach area of Bourne, Precinct 9 of Plymouth, and like Marston's Mills, like 2 or 3 precincts in Barnstable, right on the edge of Sandwich there. So you could try to reach out to Randy. He does surprise us on occasion. He voted for transgender access to the bathroom bill, so that was a surprise coming from him. But then you have Matt Muratori. Good luck. That's most of Plymouth. That's everything except West Plymouth and North Plymouth, which is Kathy Lenatra, who is a Democrat and just really is a hardworking state rep. I've been delighted with her. I've never had a bad conversation with her, you know.
So what's your best advice for us to be effective to get these legislators to listen?
The first and foremost, do the opposite of me and try to be as like brief. Brevity is definitely a strength here because they are going to hear from a lot of people, including the other side. But be organized with what you're saying. Try to make sure that it's not everybody like saying the same thing, but like organize yourselves first. And you've done such a great job with that already. You've got great branding already, which is unusual this early in a kind of new activist movement. And have any kind of proof you can to be like, this is killing us. We need to be able to do it. We aren't competing with the package stores. And if you want us to be here for you, we're going to need to be able to do this right now. Have as many owners as possible sign on to a letter and send it to all 4 of them. So you've got one state senator.
So owners have power, right?
Well,
owners have voice. They have a big voice. They have a big following. So owners should be really getting involved. I really have to say thank you, Nina Peters, for. I know this would benefit the Tasty, but at the end of the day, this benefits every restaurant and every bar. Doesn't matter what you make. Doesn't matter what you serve.
Yep.
It is going to help everybody, not just the cocktail nerds. It's going to help everybody. Like I know Speedwell has awesome draft cocktails.
Yep.
And they could be selling those. And, you have Sukasa could be doing awesome margaritas. There's a whole bunch of places that could be doing really good stuff. And if BBC wants to sell bottled cocktails, go for it. I'll help them make the gin and tonic, whatever they want.
Oh, nice. I just remembered your gin and tonic. Sorry. If the traffic weren't so crappy, I would totally want to come up to Plymouth right now. But so, yeah, owners do have the power sometimes. In this situation, I think, you're just not even necessarily the owners, they're like the representative, but getting the restaurants to sign on to something. Like, I'll write the letter. Just be like, hey, these are the facts. This is what's going on. You guys rely on us for a lot of things because who do you think hosts their fundraisers? Who do you think caters to their like events that they have? Even right now over Zoom, eventually they're going to have to start doing stuff. Like they need restaurants there employing the people in their district and for people to go to their district. This is a tourist economy, not just on our half of the bridge, but on that half of the bridge. Plymouth is a day tripping town. The reason we got that meals tax through was because we pointed out to people, do you want your property taxes to go up? Or do you want people from out of town to pay for this building that we have to build anyway? That's how it works.
And passing this bill through, it's going to get people off unemployment.
Yeah.
Literally going to get people off unemployment. And don't we want that?
Don't
we want our bars to survive? Don't we want our restaurants to survive? Because literally, as the days pass right now, the dollars are just slipping away.
I know. You can think of it as like just a whirlpool that's never going to stop until suddenly there's no more water. And it's just an empty Main Street. Like politicians love to say, oh, think about the empty Main Streets because of whatever reason they've decided Main Street's empty. This is not a tangential one. This is like a clear and present danger of an empty Main Street. And what that looks like going forward is really bleak and terrifying. We already, I think, as Massachusetts towns struggle to provide housing stock that's actually affordable for people. And certainly down on this end, we have much older communities, even than Plymouth, which has a pretty good mix of demographics-wise and ages. But if we can't open restaurants where people can work and then make a wage and then pay rent or mortgage or, what do they think is going to happen to these people? And if they don't care about people, fine, but they do care about the economy and they care about where they live. And it's not going to be so much fun when you can't go even safely to sit outside while you're shopping for antiques on Main Street, Yeah,
and I can't see a day where the doors are shuttered, but I know that it could happen.
Yeah, you hope for the best, but it's like we're going to probably, I would say, get ready for lockdown number 2. Based on the way things are going. I'm of the mind that we never left the first wave. We just decided to stop caring about it. Real classic, Happy July 4th American attitude.
There's this article that just came out. Mike Morway just forwarded it to me. It was something about how Massachusetts is the only state that actually handled the coronavirus properly.
Okay.
Comedy? Want some comedy? I don't know.
I might want you to send that to me.
I'm gonna send it
Look,
to you.
there were
when
a
we
lot
get
of things done right, but we didn't do them fast enough. And I think that as devastating as the Holyoke Veterans Home was, a lot of the news was just about that and that malfeasance. Now, that's really important and it should be covered, and those people probably should be prosecuted, right? There's no reason, but it's sickening how they just kind of threw all these people together, the healthy ones and the COVID-19 ones, and we're like, well, who cares, right? That's horrifying. But we weren't talking about all the people who were not following with what we were supposed to be doing. Well, we were talking only about that. And we really need, I just listen to WBUR all day because it soothes me somehow. I hear Magna Chakravarti and I'm like, yes, I'm okay now. Even when the news is bad. But we really have to be reliant on quality media, which is difficult. And that's another way, the long way I'm getting to this point, that you can work on what you're doing. Be writing letters to the editor, because you know what politicians look at? Letters to the editor. And it's really easy to share those.
Sorry. Boston Globe just released an editorial on the bill today.
I did see that, but write to the OCM. Mm-hmm. And send write to the OCM, write to the Cape Cod Times, because this is an area specifically where, you know, restaurants are it right now, and they're only half open, right? Hopefully. But like, write to those newspapers, write to Coffee Time. God, I hate to say this, but even the Boston Herald, like the Kingston, what's that one called?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But, you know, write to the local newspapers. If you have a friend in a different municipality in Massachusetts, they should write to theirs. And it flood.
If Old Colony Memorial can put me on the front page for my rooster, they can put this on the front page.
Oh my God, I was on the front page for my women's signs, my women's march signs in Boston. And there was a letter or 2 complaints to Scott Smith, the editor, because one of the signs said "This pussy bites" or something like that. I made it, but it was my friend's sign, and 2 people complained about that. Not the one that was next to it that has "never again" and like a bloody coat hanger. They didn't complain about that. The P word was what's sad. So Scott had to write a whole editorial in defense of the P word, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, Scott. Sorry that you had to devote important time to this." But
oh man.
So yeah, they should be talking about this. Restaurants are a huge part of the Plymouth economy.
Yes, it's crazy. And you know, we were trucking, man. We were killing it. Like the restaurant industry in Plymouth, we were like, everybody's numbers are up. We were just, you know, chugging along, being like, okay, here comes the spring, here comes the summer. We're ready to open up another place across the street from us, you know, and that just halted. And you know, between the 2 restaurants, we're probably looking at employing like 20 people full time.
And then those people look for housing, and then they buy things nearby in the town, and they, you know, they pay taxes. And what happens if those people
can't pay their rent, and then all of a sudden the landlords aren't getting paid? So it just makes no sense to me. I don't know.
It's a trickle up nightmare, and not even trickle. It's a spout up nightmare. One of the things I moved to Plymouth that I would always hear about, because I moved there in 2011. I had visited Plymouth one time in 2006, and the difference in those 5 years on that main street was insane, but or incredible, I should say. What I always would hear from people who were from Plymouth or who would be there a lot, you know, was, you should have seen this place 10 years ago. Like, it's really, really crazy now. Like, the Main Street and Water Street are like bustling. Like, there's the arts and culture, you know, not just like new with the Spire, but like these restaurants, and they're nice restaurants. Like, it's not just, you know, a bunch of dive bars or something like that. It's like a really eclectic mix of cool, like, hip places. People travel to go there.
Oh yeah, we get people from the Cape. We get people coming from the city, and actually they meet in Plymouth.
Yeah, because it's right in the middle. As a state committee member, I can tell you, our district is, you know, Pembroke, Kingston. This is the same as our Senate district. Pembroke, Kingston, Plymouth, born Sandwich, Falmouth. And when we have district-wide meetings, where do we meet? Plymouth, because it's in the middle and it's huge. It's easy to get to. It's off the highway. There's a lot to do there, right in that little area. And of course, there's restaurants outside of Main Street. It's just for the sake of this conversation easier to discuss that. But it's a day tripping town. Again, I bring up the meals tax. That's why that made sense to do. And it's performing very well because the restaurants are so good that people are coming there to pay for that. And that tiny, tiny little amount adds up. So it's going to be a big deal if this doesn't get through for you guys. And if one thing that's going to help is obviously a really well-regulated, strictly maintained cocktail program. I struggled with this one at first because it's really easy to say, gosh, that seems scary. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. But when you guys are able to send out beer and wine, there's literally no difference between someone being able to crank that and pound it in the car or a cocktail. It's just...
And we can put safety caps on them. We already have plans for that. But the thing about it is, you people are like, oh, people can go drunk driving. I can go to any liquor store in any town right now and find nips in the parking lot.
I pick up nips out of my front yard every single day, sometimes more than once, because people roll down Worcester Court and they're like, throw them in Zelda's yard. I'm certain it's one person too. I've got a whole narrative around it that I made up.
Like, it's not cost effective. It's not cost effective to go to a restaurant, buy some to-go cocktails, and pound them in your car. If you really want to get wasted, right? You want to.
I know, and we're talking about, I know, like at the Tasty, I think a typical cocktail is between $9 and $12, right?
13.
13.
Yeah,
See, I was close. It's been
expensive.
A while.
Yeah,
because they're a crap cocktail. You're making like whatever magic syrup you made at whatever time. Like all of those things that you do that are and.
So, 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah.
Solon, get down right now.
I think the kid's in trouble, you guys.
He is always in trouble.
Well, that's
what
your
happens
gene pool.
He has clothes on, but yep, it's underwear. Nice. Hey, Solon, you're on the internet in your underwear. Say, hey, pass that bill, kids. Say, pass that bill. Pass that bill. He wants his own coffee time. All right. Anyways, on that note, I think we're going to be sharing a bunch of stuff around the internet today. Solon, come, buddy. What group did you say I should join? What coalition?
Well, I can send you a few links in our chat. But if you're not a member of Indivisible Plymouth, check that out. There's like 3,000 members, I think, in that. But that is a chapter of Progressive Mass. They are usually pretty solid on how to get in touch with your legislators. Just a reminder, if you're in Plymouth, if you're in the Plymouth and Barnstable district, whatever, your state senator is new. Her name is Sue Moran. That's S-U with no E. That it helps, by the way, to spell the name correctly when you're emailing them. And depending on where you live in Plymouth, your state reps are either Randy Hunt, Kathy Lenatra, or Matthew Muratori. So, keep that in mind. I'm happy to provide, and I'm sorry I haven't yet, I know I told you I would, a document that has all of their contact information on it, including, when I have it, the name of their constituents and services people. For Sue Moran, it is Monica Mullen. Many of you will remember her. She worked for Terry Murray, and then she worked for Vinny. Nobody knows the situation like she does. She's a great lady. So, reaching out to your local representative from the district office is a good way to deal with that too. And don't be shy. Write letters to the editor. Go on every forum you can and post about it. Whatever. Enjoy the commentary that you'll receive from some people.
I have a list of comebacks that are very, nice.
No, good for you that you made them nice. But
I got some people sending me some mean stuff, and I was like, really? Jeez.
Oh my God. Today's the anniversary of when I wrote a letter to the editor about Matt and Vinny, Matt Muratori and Vinny DiMacedo not supporting the Roe Act. And then they responded to it. And not only did they spell my name wrong 2 out of the 5 times they mentioned it, and they said Ms. MacGregor, and it's Dr. MacGregor, by the way. I earned that PhD.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a doctor of ethics. Sorry. I always undersell that. But So they called me a fearmonger and an Orwellian, and I was like, I don't think based on this that you've read the book 1984. Just based on what the article was. I'm really looking forward to their rebuttal coming up in my time is all. But don't be shy. Don't be afraid. This is life and death, okay? For generations. We're looking at right now a 2-generation issue with education because you've got seniors and you've got first graders, completely different situations, and we're looking at that with restaurants too. So
yeah,
we'll never recover from this if we don't do it right now, and this is a part of it. So if anyone needs to talk to me, my email is Zelda MacGregor with an A at Gmail, or I'm the only one on Facebook. Go ahead and find me. I'm friends with Chris.
I'm going to add your contact information and some links to your little bio that we did.
Sure.
And we'll share that around. And cool. Well, hey, I'm going to switch to my outro now. But I'm going to have you hang on for a minute. So just chill, and I'll be right back. But I want to thank you.
Bye.
Zelda,
thanks for having me. Oh, for Ed Markey, September 1st.
Ed Markey, September 1st. You got it. Absolutely. And let me see here. Going to switch over to my one shot. Yeah, thank you so much. Whoa! All right, here we are. See this right here is why I'm not doing coffee time. He goes back to school next week though, so guess what? I'm gonna be doing coffee time.
Coffee time? What?
Yeah. Well, thanks guys so much for joining us today, and please contact your senators. Contact your people of power that have voice. Even you, everybody has a power. Everybody has a voice. So, we all just got to rattle that cage and make some noise. And I thank you so much for joining us today, folks. I really, really, really appreciate it. All right, see y'all soon.